You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits, B Pro Kennels, and Final Rise. Big thanks to our title sponsor, B Pro Kennels. B Pro Kennels is a small business creating ultra high quality and custom dog boxes for the gun dog owner like you and I. No matter how big your string of dogs, B Pro Kennels will make sure you have a box that fits your needs for you and your gun dogs. With an innovative storage design and built-in solar panel and battery bank for quick access to charging accessories like dog collars, lights, fans, you name it. This is a dog box unlike anything you've seen before. Check them out at bprokennels.com. Oh, and they're made right here in the USA. This podcast is also presented to you by Final Rise. All good things start with a solid foundation. At Final Rise, all three of their premium Upland vests are built around the foundational waist belt to provide you all-day comfort and endless customization. With a secure waist belt and thin, high-quality shoulder harness, this is the vest that you can load down with birds and walk all day in. Final Rise is creating high-functioning Upland gear that delivers comfort, balance, and a lifetime of memories. Check them out at finalrise.com. And this podcast is sponsored by Trinity Bretons, home of the Épingle Breton, also known as the French Brittany. All Trinity Breton dogs are from champion bloodlines that are field-tested and family-approved. For over 33 years, Trinity Bretons has worked to offer you the best bred Épingle Breton in the country. Trinity offers puppies, the Trinity Upland Academy with George Hickox, started dogs, stud services, and a whole lot more. Check them out at trinitybretons.com. And don't forget about the fall kickoff giveaway happening over at patreon.com. Become a Patreon supporter for as little as $5 a month, and not only helping support the podcast, but you will be entered into the giveaway, including prizes from Cable Gangs, Upland Knife Company, and Gunner Kennels. Check it out and become a Patreon member today at patreon.com/theuplandrookie. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 58, part 2 of Reach Out Your Hand with Scott Kinnane. Now, if you have not already checked out part 1 of this conversation, which is episode 57, highly encourage you, take a pause on this episode right now, go back, listen to part 1, and then jump back in. It's going to make a lot more sense. Give you a lot broader context to our conversation, talking about mentoring and engaging new hunters. So take a pause, come on back, and we will get rolling. Couple quick things before we jump into the rest of this episode. Just a logistical thing. So I am talking to you right now on Sunday, August 28th. That's when I'm recording this intro. This episode's not going to drop until either Friday, September 2nd or Saturday the 3rd. So that's when you'll be listening to this episode. How that relates to the podcast giveaway happening over at patreon.com for all Patreon members. I will still do the drawing and contact the winner on Thursday the 1st. So Thursday, September 1st, I'll still contact the winner. But you guys won't hear about that until the following week's episode, if that makes sense. So Tuesday, September 6th, that's when I would have already contacted the winner. Prior to that, you'll hear about who the winner is, what prize they picked, and then what prizes are still available. I just have a crazy week with work and some other podcast recordings, as well as leaving for my sharptail hunt. So kind of a crazy week, having to do some pre-recording. I don't love doing that because it gets complicated, but I think this will work out pretty good. So stay tuned for that. Just a reminder, get signed up on patreon.com for, we have, again, when you're listening to this, we'll have 2 more months of prizes available. And so get signed up as a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month. You are not only getting a chance to walk away with some sweet gear, but you are helping support the show. Everything that I'm making from Patreon is going back into the podcast, including upgrading microphones, recording stuff, hosting fees, all that kind of stuff. So you guys are greatly helping support the show. So thank you. so much to all the Patreon members out there. Again, I hope everyone's having a good start to your season. I know some of us, maybe their season doesn't start till later. I'm sorry. Hopefully if you hit the opener, maybe for dove or mountain grouse or sharp-tailed grouse, whatever it might be, I hope you've been having a good time. I hope it's been successful in making some memories, getting out there with your dog, putting some miles on your boots, and seeing some beautiful country. Be sure to tag the Upland Rookie Podcast in maybe some photos or posts that you make on social media. I'd love to see, get a glimpse into what you're experiencing out there. What are some of the memories you're making? What are some of the things you're learning, alongside your dog? And would love to, walk alongside that journey. I'll be sharing some of those over the next couple weeks. So be sure to, be sharing and tagging the podcast in your posts. And I'm excited to see how you guys are doing out there. So anyways, I am, like I said, again, this is a weird pre-recording. I'm heading to Nebraska here, chasing sharptails. So I will get you guys updated on how that went. Again, of course, on social media, I'll be posting some stuff, doing some videos over at the Upland Rookie Podcast page, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm doing a couple of videos over there, including a vest review of the Final Rise Sidekick vest. Get your orders in. If you're looking for a new vest, check out finalrise.com. Sidekick vest, Summit, Legacy. They got some options for you depending on what you're looking for, how you like to hunt, and all that good stuff. So make sure you check out that. Other than that, the promo code, I haven't mentioned this in a little bit, but the promo code, if you're looking to get a custom dog box built, that's going to be with B Pro Kennels, promo code Rookie10. So Rookie10 is going to get you 10% off your order at B Pro Kennels for all general listeners. There's a little bit bigger promo code for Patreon members only. So become a Patreon member and you'll get the promo code, which is a little bit nicer if you're looking at a custom dog box for B Pro Kennels. All right, guys, we're going to jump in to this part 2 conversation with Scott Kinnane. Again, I hope everyone's doing well, having a great start to your season, and we will be talking to you soon.
But none of them have ever reached out their hand. I thought I'd get a couple. Sure.
In a room of 20 so people, yeah.
None.
Wow.
It hurt.
That's surprise. Yeah, that's a surprise because again, we all talk about it. I talk about it. We all want that. And Scott, was it you when we had a phone call a couple months ago? We were chatting about this. Was it you who brought up that you don't just want, again, anyone who wants to be in upland hunting, that's great, but you don't want to have to force them into it, right? You don't want to have to coax them into it. Like you want the people who are show a little bit, like extend that hand a little bit, who are a little bit eager, a little bit interested, right? Versus someone who's like, I could take it or leave it, and then forcing them into it.
Correct.
Was that you who I was yeah. You want to expand on that maybe a little bit more, some of your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. This is why I use the reach out your hand, and if they grab it, right? At some point, usually you reach out the hand, they touch it, right? And that gets you to start to talk and things like that. It doesn't take very long, and you're going to tell whether they grab that hand, right? And they're along for the ride and they're really passionate, or they want to become passionate about it, or they just let go and go, I don't know, I'm busy, whatever. As a mentor, you've got to be able to read that. Good mentors listening, right? You can listen to someone's voice after you take them out and work the dogs with them, right? Oh, that was so cool. That was the best. That was awesome. Versus, man, it was really hot out there. I didn't like that at all, right? So do you want to do this some more? Then you've got to start asking those questions, because then you're just spinning your wheels and you don't want to force somebody into doing something. So I've found that it's probably 50-50 would be my guess of people that grab on and go for the ride versus, hey, I just wanted to see what it was about and see if it was something that was, interested.
Sure.
Both are mentoring.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's not going to be 100% success rate. It's not going to be every person you talk to is going to jump in 100%, right?
Right.
Not every person you extend a hand to and make an offer to, hey, would you like to, yeah, they might try it one time, right? But they might be like, yeah, it was cool. Like it was a cool experience. But again, I guess I'm trying to say like real expectations on the mentor side, right? It is important to know, hey, not every person you connect with or bring hunting or invest some time into even is going to jump in with both feet.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Will. And yep, I'm glad you said that. And you brought this subject up because as mentors, you don't take it personally either. I've seen some people that have reached out, they're really passionate, and someone turns them down after a while, and they're like, oh, put so much time into it, and it's hard, and they just walked away. It's kind of like, yep, they did. Yeah, that will not be the last one if you keep going on this.
Sure.
Right? But they always had something to talk about, right?
Yeah.
They did something in their life that they said, you know what, I tried that, it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's all good. That is all good, right? I can name a lot of things people have taken me along for the ride, and I don't like it. Playing piano, certain kind of music
wasn't your thing.
Certain kind of music, it's kind of like, ooh, no, I'm good. So don't take it personal.
No, that's really good. Scott, can you unpack a little bit more? We've kind of danced around this particular topic a little bit. Can you talk about the phrase mentor or title mentor versus like a coach, and kind of talk about the difference of that a little bit? I know you've brought it up a little bit to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know what you call it, but mentor is a good thing, right? I've been a mentor. I've worked in business, medical, all sorts of things. Mentor to me is that, let's say you have a young intern come in. They've got their career vision set out for them. They need somebody that's been there, done it, to say, lay out through a couple of discussions, right? These are the next steps I would take if I were you, right? I would learn how to do this. I would talk to this person. I would increase your networking capabilities, right? You go through the list of things to help them move their career in the direction that they've described to you, right? Because you've been there, done that. You have the contacts. You get them in contact with people, and then you cut them loose. See ya. I don't like using mentor in what we're talking about and describing in the context of, it's good to be used when you're talking about like archery, right? I'm going to take you turkey hunting, right? Meet me here tomorrow morning. Bring your gear, bring your gun. I walk you out to one of my favorite spots. We sit down, we call turkeys, we shoot a turkey. We come back. I take some pictures that you can go on, and I give you a big hug and see ya, right? Same thing, days in the pheasant field, right? All the kids show up to here. Each one gets a mentor. That mentor has a dog, right? Walks along with you, makes sure you be safe, things like that. In that context, I think you're okay, right? The context that I'm trying to get people involved and excited about would be that coach, that teacher. If you find somebody that's got an interest, what you can teach them and take them on the journey for can be pretty much endless, and it can end up in a great friendship, and someone that'll take you hunting when you're old and feeble and don't have the best spots anymore, and your dog's long in the tooth and they've got a new puppy. And so did that help, Will? Did that?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely helped. I'm going to ask you to take it, I guess, kind of a step further, I guess. So that coach, again, so you've kind of described mentor versus coach phrase or title, whatever we want to call that. Okay, so you, Scott, as a coach, like walk us through practically what that looks like. Yeah, more so on the coach side. Is that just, are you coaching someone, like one person for maybe say a year? like a more extended amount of time versus those one-off events? Like unpack what that looks like for you personally a little bit more.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, extended period of time, year, 2 years. If a dog's involved, I mean, there is nothing. I'm thinking. I'm not being quiet. I'm thinking. All right. Sorry for the people on the podcast, but Scott's
no, not at all.
So it takes a while.
This is real life.
I gotta let my thoughts catch up. If a dog's involved, man, if you could be a coach, if you could find a kid, right, that mom, dad said it's okay to get a puppy, right? Man, find that dog a puppy. And if you can, go with them and do that and find a breeder that's got a big heart that will cut you a big deal, right, on a really good puppy, right? Because you don't want them to be struggling with, right, poor genetics, it's running away all the time, whatever. You want that buddy, sleeps on your bed, won't leave. So then it takes a little bit longer. But the coach end of it is just that. I mean, think of all the things that you, the listeners, you will have had to learn in order to get where you're at today, right? And the coaches that you've had. That's exactly what I try to remember when I take somebody on that journey, right? It's in the summer where we just go for drives, right? Let's just go out and just drive, and then we'll let the dog go swimming for a little while, right? You talk, and those are winter berries, and that bird is that bird, and just get to that point. Show them how to use Onyx if you have Onyx. If you don't, a great thing that woodsmanship. How do you walk? Don't look at your feet. You got to learn how to walk through the woods without looking at your feet.
Wait, you don't look at your feet when you walk? Wait, what? Hold on now. Hold on.
Come on over.
I've been doing this wrong.
Yeah, come on over. I'm going to put your baseball cap on. I'm going to flip the lid up, and I'm going to stick it underneath your chin here like this so you can't see your feet. And I'll make you walk through the woods.
Love it.
So, yeah, it's coaching is just that. You're very supportive, right? I can't stress listening enough. A lot of these young people, they're with you because you stuck out your hand and they grabbed a hold of it, right? They actually probably 99.99% of the time need somebody to talk to. They're in that situation. Even people that aren't in that situation, right? People like to talk to people, right?
Sure.
Let them talk. That's huge. If I'm Scott's just going to sit there and talk about, I've got the best dogs in the world. Let me start off with Trapper, the English setter. And by the time 3 hours later, I'm talking about Briar, the Griffon. Yeah, it just doesn't work. It's not fun. Here, let me show you all my guns.
Sure.
And the poor kid doesn't even have one. It's kind of like, well,
these are cool to look at, but they make it relatable. I think what you're saying, you got to make it relatable, interesting for them as well. One of the things I want to circle back on, again, maybe you can speak into this a little bit more, is it sounds like you're not saying like those one-off events aren't bad. They're not a bad thing. You think there's still a good introduction point for people, like a good like step one? Because I guess what I'm hearing, and I guess what appeals to me with what you're describing is that length of time where it's not just a one-off event. Scott downloads all his information on Will, and then, all right, Will, go do it all. I'll catch up with you next year. Let me know how it goes. For me and how I learn and my style, and I'm sure other people are like that walking alongside that continued education, whatever we want to say. That's the stuff where, 1 week I talk to you and we can talk about what some habitat looks like. And then I might have questions on dogs the next week. Like that continued process is something that in the, how I learn really well. And again, I've been fortunate enough to have someone like that in my life where I can do that, where it's kind of a week to week thing, or I can call him or text him and have that continued dialogue. So back to my question. Sorry, that was a tangent. Back to my question. Talk a little bit more about those one-off events, whether it's R3 or some events from Pheasants Forever or your local, Parks and Wildlife office. Like, what are those events? What are those opportunities out there? And what do they provide, do you think?
Great question. They are absolutely mandatory, right? That's that. I got to go skeet shooting. Poof, it lit the fire. That same thing, all the Pheasants Forever youth hunts, right? RGS, right? All Ducks Unlimited, they all have some type of youth program or introduction to hunting. Becoming an outdoors woman was one thing for my wife and the daughter and things like that. That lets them know, that I want more of that. What is more mean, right? And so it separates, right? And you start to get the cream and the butter and things like that as the separation process goes on, right? It really wasn't my thing. So, yep, they are absolutely mandatory, in my opinion, right? That these programs get stronger, get better, get more opportunities. Like I said, there are so many places that these organizations could reach, right? And I would prefer that they would do the reach versus, my mom, a single mom, would have had to run across not knowing anything about hunting or know anybody that hunts, see it in a piece of paper and go, I wonder if Scott would like to do this, make that call, right?
Sure.
And I think the proactiveness would come, just as an example, we moved up here to Bemidji recently. Our neighbor is the director of the Boys and Girls Club of America here in town. Man, she was first on my list. I'm like, hey, I got an offer for you. I know you deal with, a lot of kids that could use a hand. I'm raising my hand, right? I got dogs, I got fishing poles. I live on the river, right? I got, you name it. You see a kid that shows an interest in any of this stuff, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper, give me a call. I'll go pick them up. I would like to see Pheasants Forever, rough grouse, stuff like that, become more involved with Boys and Girls Clubs of America, or somehow figure out how to get that reach to people. Because typically those kids that enter, the ones I've been, right, dad doesn't know how to hunt, but his kid wants to go try turkey hunting. Well, sure. He knows how to go and do that, get a hold of Pheasants Forever and things like that. I would like to see us, get in some other lines that way. But to answer your question, it is necessary. You've got to be able to give the kids an opportunity, young adults the opportunity to go, yeah, shooting a gun's not my thing. How about conservation? Conservation, your thing? Right? Have that talk. Dog training. You like dogs. You seem like you like Briar like nothing. You ever thought about training dogs? You don't have to, So there's lots of things that you can. Did that help?
Absolutely. I'm just letting this all soak in, because this is gold, Scott. This is gold.
Well, it's like gold. It's hard to get to it.
Sure.
It's like,
and there's different ways to get to it too.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, a kid or anyone, and we're not just talking kids, anyone who's showing an interest, they're going to have different things that interest them. The dog, like you said, the dog or the bird or the habitat, or, like it's not just going to be about killing birds for everyone. That's not going to be the peak interest for every person.
Yeah.
It might be the habitat. And so that's the unique part, that it's going to be different for every person. Every person you talk with is going to, hey, the dogs are really my thing. I don't know about the birds, but all right, let's start with focus on the dogs for a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah, one of the
That's
one of the
awesome.
easiest questions as a mentor, coach, teacher is, what do you want to do today?
Just just let it.
I've never
Yeah.
fished. Well, fine. Let's go grab a couple of fishing poles and we'll go get some crawlers and we'll go sit on the dock for a while or take the boat out or whatever, right? And just let it flow. It's really about getting more people out behind the things that keep them from being outdoors,
Sure.
right?
Scott, I'd love to transition a little bit, kind of to the mentee side. So the person that is being mentored. Something I hear from listeners a little bit here and there, and I'm sure it's on some people's minds. If you have interest, let's say, again, this could be a wide range. This could be a teenager. This could be a 25-year-old. I don't know. But what are maybe some steps or some things that person could take if they want to find a mentor? They kind of are, they have a lot of interest. They want to, hunt and they want to have bird dogs. Like, I guess what's some advice maybe you would give them on like finding a mentor or finding someone? Like how do you do that, and how do you do that well?
Yeah, that is probably the most difficult part of this whole conversation for me, because I don't want to upset anybody, right? On our side of the aisle. Finding people like Will and Scott and Travis Frank and all those people that are it's hard to get a hold of them. It's hard to find out where I go, right? I call Pheasants Forever and they're like, well, we got a youth hunt over here in Baldwin, Wisconsin on September 15th if you want to go to that. And it's kind of like, well, no, not really. I don't have $800 and I don't know how to get over there. So finding a mentor it's really the mentor who's got to find the mentee. Unfortunately, this day and age, you've got to put an effort in, like my friend's dad who said, you want to go skeet shooting?
Sure.
I didn't call him and say, hey, can you take me skeet shooting? It's really the other way around. And I know a lot of these organizations, it doesn't cost anything. I understand that. So it's not always $800.
Sure. So
definitely mentees take advantage of all the things that you can. So make sure everybody's aware of, Pheasants Forever, Rough Grouse, Delta, Ducks Unlimited, all those that are out there. Reach out to them and see what they can do for you. Right?
That's good. If you don't mind, I'm going to offer a piece of advice that is unsolicited to anyone out there. Maybe I'm going to answer my own question.
Yeah, there you go.
Again, just offer some experience that I've seen. Hang around your local bird club or your hunt club or something. Like, hang around those things, and you're going to get to know people. I think you got to put yourself in some uncomfortable situations. There's a couple, again, local clubs around me. Some require memberships. Some you can go as a guest and here and there, but some you can do trials. You can, hey, come out for the month, see if you like it, then join. Put yourself in those situations, because I think you're going to get to meet guys like a Scott or someone who could potentially be a mentor. I'm not saying you're not going in with the focus, hey, I'm going to find a mentor today. I'm going to find someone, I'm going to ask them. No, but it's putting yourself in that area, in that space. You're going to get to learn things from other guys and girls. You're going to be around them to ask questions. Hey, why do you do that with your dog that way? Or can you tell me more about that method, or whatever that might be? Like, you're putting yourself in a situation to develop those friendships and connections. For me, I'm a pretty introverted guy. And so when I first started out, I would go to these hunt clubs, and they had a puppy class in the morning that everyone could go to. It was like 15 people. They'd run like a little puppy seminar every Saturday. It was uncomfortable for an introvert. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what I was doing, but it put me around some great people to ask questions and kind of encourage me along. And, oh, you're new. Oh, cool. Like, yeah, like, this is what you want to do with your dog, and try this week with him. And that was encouraging for me. And again, that led into some more confidence for myself. Again, ended up finding a mentor of mine, not through that hunt club, but again, gave me the confidence. I had to send a text and reach out and said, hey, someone told me to reach out to you. And he was the breeder of my dog. And, how do I, get bird intro and all that? He's like, oh yeah, come on out. I'll show you what it's like. And that just developed into a great friendship. But, so that's my piece of advice I would say is put yourself in those situations, look for those situations where you can be around some other people to develop those connections.
Yeah, that's great advice. And when you and I were talking a while back, I knew that you would, being relatively new to upland hunting, would be able to add a lot of good advice to the mentees of, this is what it feels like. This is,
Sure.
it's scary. It's hard. It's, but you got to put yourself out there because, not every guy that's going to reach their hand out is going to be difficult or anything like that. So
sure,
there's a lot.
Yeah, there's gonna be bumps along the road. I shared this on the podcast before, but I had someone when I had my first bird dog. It was after our first season, and he again, just an acquaintance, someone I knew, and he's like, well, how'd you do, pheasant hunting? And I was like, oh, it was pretty tough. I think we got 2 birds all year or whatever. It was tough hunting, whatever. And he's like, well, what kind of dog do you have? I was like, well, it was a Brittany. He's like, oh, you got the wrong dog. You need a Flushing dog if you want to be successful at all. And I was like, wait, what? It was so deflating for me at the time. And again, as a new hunter, it was a hard thing to kind of like wrestle through. And I was like, well, crap. Did I get the wrong dog? And it kind of sent me into this, like, this questioning things. And so I say that there's going to be people out there who maybe will discourage you, or, you got to weed through and find the people who are going to speak life and truth and kind of take you along the journey, and not just be like, oh, you got the wrong dog, kid. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
like, no, you can be, again, I've come to learn now, you can be successful with a pointing dog and pheasants. Like it's tough, but it's doable. It's doable, right?
We got a couple in the freezer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
exactly.
yeah, I think that's part of that teaching and that coaching part too, is when people talk to you, helping that person that grabbed your hand understand there are so many things, if you think about it, right? Nothing is absolute. Anybody says you can only hunt with a lab, all right, your little voice in your head should be going, no, ask questions, understand why they feel that way, but
Sure.
don't personalize that onto yourself, because everybody's got their own agenda. Everybody's got their own preferred methods. But here's I just thought of this too, is the things that you don't get as part of being a mentor, as an example, right? How to ask for permission at a farm, right? That's tough. Man,
Scary.
if you could have somebody sitting in the truck with you to go, all right, you're going to go up and ask for permission here, right? You can just see them just turn almost white. They're just like, they start breathing tough. They're like, oh, I'm not sure. They're just stuttering. It's kind of.
I got to run to the bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah. So teaching them that, right? Before you get out of the truck, right? Look around for dogs. Them old farm dogs, they like to lay underneath them big old shade trees. So take a look underneath the shade trees, because they catch you out in the open. It's not a good day. So, being able.
I feel like every farm has a farm dog. Oh. Every one, and they're not the nicest.
No,
they're very protective.
Yeah. They got one purpose: is how they get fed. Yep. They fully understand what puts food in their bowl.
They keep us away.
Yeah. Yeah. So being able to teach that, then I take that a step farther, right? And this hit me a number of years ago, is learn how to be able to tell a story, right? Being a good storyteller is awesome. Here's an example, right? I took a kid out and we were in Iowa, and we went up and we asked for permission. I said, you're asking for permission. I'm walking with you, right? And we go to the barn. We hear all the noise in the barn, and knocks, and farmer comes out, and he gives them permission, right? We go out, we shoot a couple of birds, we go back, we drop one off, right? And that's the short version of it. So I said, tell me the story. What are you going to say when you go back to school on Monday about your first time asking for permission? He goes, oh, I'm just going to tell him it was really hard. And it was, we got a couple of birds, so it was good. The walking was hard, and I'm like, all right, here, we're going to have storytelling 101. Because this farmer was something. It was a story. It was a perfect story. So we get out of the truck, we look for the dog, we go up and bang on the barn door, and this short little farmer comes over. He's just covered head to toe in cow, and he goes, "What the hell do you want?" I look at the kid. He's just like looking at his feet. Oh no, he's not looking. He's just staring at his feet.
How do I get out of this? How do I get out?
I don't even know how to answer that question. The kid's thinking, and I said, "Well, the Sammy here has a question for you. Well, what the hell's he got to ask me? Is it about cows? He goes, just a second. And he turns around and walks away and gets his little 5-gallon pail, sets it down on the ground, sits down on it, and he goes, talk. So he's trying to spit out the words. He gets it out. He says, I'm wondering if we could go hunting over here. And he goes, hunting what? And Sammy goes, pheasants. He's like, there's no goddamn pheasants over there in that field. What the hell would you want to go over there for? Oh, this kid is just dying, So the farmer gets up, walks him over, and shows him where all the pheasants are up by the railroad track. He says, if you want to go up there, you go up there, but you need to come back and talk to me and tell me what the heck went on when you get done. I want to know if I was right. You understand me? And Sammy's like, yes. He says, look at me. So the kid looks at him.
Oh my God.
Do you understand? And he says, yes, sir. I like, okay, here we go.
He got it.
I go, that is how you tell the story.
Yes.
And none of it's a lie. It's just, he was mean and it was bad and we got some birds and,
You got to get those details in there. That helps paint the full picture. And then when you hear about, the actual hunt part afterwards, it helps you kind of bring it all full circle and
right.
appreciate it more.
Right. So I did ask him if he told the story because we practiced it on the way home.
Nice. Got to make sure you get some of those details in there.
Right. Oh, don't forget about, what he was covered in. That gives you that visual, and stuff like that. So the next time we got together, I go, how did it go? Everybody was laughing. They thought it was funny. They go, were you scared? And he's like, I told them no. It was just great. So.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. I love that. Scott, as we start to wrap this thing up, what are so going back to that coach kind of mentor side of things, just kind of a clear and concise. What are maybe some key takeaways that you would give for that coach out there who wants to walk alongside someone, extend that hand? What are maybe a couple bullet points that someone listening to this could go, okay, here's a little bit of maybe an action step or a little bit of here's my bullet point of what I could work on.
Perfect. Reach out to areas, right? There are Boys and Girls Clubs of America. There are orphanages. There are family services. All have lists of people that, and they talk to them all the time. They know that there's a Scott out there that, wants to go do this, wants to do that. So make yourself available. Right? Understand that some of these organizations that you're going to reach out to are going to require background checks. Right? We just don't send our kids off with anybody. Right? That's the rule. Right. I don't send my kids off with anybody. So,
yep.
I Google them. I look at their socials.
Exactly.
I'm like, they'll do the same to you. If you know of somebody that is of single parent home, talk to the parent. Let them know that, if this is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about hunting dogs and shooting and hunting and pickup trucks and things like that. If any of your children show an interest in that, I would be more than willing to talk to them. So get your name out there, right? Understand that when someone grabs your hand and squeezes it really hard, right? You put your hand out there, they grabbed it back and they're squeezing it really hard, you're in for a time commitment. Be okay with that time commitment going into it, right? They're going to call you. Will's going to call you and say, my dog is not returning the bumper, or it's dropping it halfway back, right? What do I do? Don't go, oh, caller ID, Will. Oh, I'm going to hang it up. I'm busy. Understand it's a time commitment. To do it well, where they appreciate it and you actually grow somebody, it's a time commitment. And then enjoy it. You're going to make so many friends. You're going to have so many more experiences. Look at where I got my story. I tell that exact same story about the farmer and Sammy asking for permission, probably more than he does. So
that's awesome.
There's a couple for you.
That's great, Scott. I love that. Okay, and then I just have a couple questions I like to ask every guest here on the podcast. And so this is kind of very related, I feel, to our conversation. But thinking about the rookie upland hunter who is, let's say, heading into their first season this year. Maybe they just picked up a dog. Maybe they're heading into it with no dog. So what's a piece of advice you'd give someone heading into their first season?
Well, I think you know where this is going with our topic. Find a mentor, find a coach, if that's what's worrying about. If it doesn't worry you, or you're not concerned and you want to take the journey yourself because you're a self go-getter, self-starter, right? Then that's not as big a deal. But put the word out that you're looking for advice, help, go places. I've had people, I sold guns at a well-known gun shop, and the amount of people that I got to talk to there, this is my first. So yeah, be that person that says, this is my first, right? Reach. Will, I think you talk about it way better than I do. I agree with everything that you say, and you said it a little bit earlier, right? Be that person. Be Will.
Sure. You got to put yourself in those situations and ask. Again, you got to push through the fear. I think that's a big thing. You got to push through the uncomfortableness and your shyness, whatever excuse you're going to use, or how we're wired. You got to push through that and be uncomfortable. I had no idea what I'm talking about. I had no idea some terms, and I felt out of place. I was like, well, these guys all know that the correct terms to use. I don't. But I'm going to ask a question that I think makes sense. And sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. They'd be like, wait, what are you talking? Oh, you're talking about this? Oh, okay, let me tell you. It happened a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's awesome. All right, sir. We're going to wrap it up here with the rapid fire section. And so I'm just going to ask you a couple questions here, and you just give me your off the cuff answer, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
I've heard this before.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know which ones you're going to ask me, but
sometimes I switch them up. You never know.
That's what I said.
I think I have one question that has never changed, but all the other ones have come in and out. All right, Scott, for you, what came first, the dog, the gun, or the bird?
Oh, I wanted to say the gun because that's how that first skeet shoot. But I think what really, really hooked me was that first dog. That tri-colored setter the
setter you had, the chick magnet.
Oh man, and she was just, you're going to get me going. But yeah, the dog.
Love it. All right, Scott, what gun are you carrying into the field and why?
Last year I got the Upland Gun Company 16 gauge. Side by side, and that shot really, really well. So I think I'll carry that one again this year, just because I shoot it well. It fits me. right? And I know you've had other guests that talk about gun fittings and patterning your guns and practicing your mounts and things like that. Very highly recommended. And then you find one that you shoot well. You can mix them up, right? Because some are prettier than others, right? Some have nostalgia with them, but find the one that when you need to put meat in the freezer, and you got to put some feathers in your dog's mouth because they get pretty bummed out after a while, grab the one.
Grab that one. Now, are you 16 gauge? Is that kind of your, I guess, again, the one you shoot the best, the one you prefer mostly out of the gauges? Actually,
I like it a lot. What I'm looking for is, I'm not a superb shot. I shoot well, right? And that helps. But I just want one that shoots where I look, right? So 16 gauge seems like a good one, but man, if we could find somebody that could start making, low pressure, 2.5 inch 12 gauge. Sure. Oh yeah. The old man could really appreciate that. A light, 6 pound, sub 6 pound, 12 gauge, 2.5 inch. Ooh. Yep.
Now we're talking, right? Now we're talking. That's the craziest thing. So talking about what you shoot the best, I have a 12 gauge semi-auto, and I cannot hit a bird with it. It is the most frustrating. So I've put it away the last several years. I just shoot 20 gauge over-unders now. I shoot those great. I'm so confident. I'm comfortable. They're light. Yeah, I only have 2 shots, but I just shoot them better. The 12 gauge, you would think, oh, it's a big old 12 gauge, and we'll, take some further pokes out there. Nope, not me.
Yeah.
12 gauge, man. I will miss everything with that. It's a nice gun. It's in good condition because I don't use it very much, but.
Yeah. Yeah. You hear people talk about meat dogs, right? That guy's got a meat dog. That one's a hunter, but that one's a meat dog, It's kind of like, well, we all got meat guns too. So you got
exactly.
You grab the meat dog and the meat gun and you're out.
You're going to have a good time.
Putting it in.
Exactly. All right, Scott, this one might be hard for you because you've had several dogs, but your favorite dog breed besides the ones you've owned. So it can't be any breed you've owned.
Yeah, and I've thought about this. I like that ugly dog look. So, and I'm in the mellow end of my life, right? We're not smoking dope yet or anything like that and listening to Led Zeppelin, but it's in the mellow part of the world. Wire-haired Vizsla.
Okay.
I think
that's a first for the podcast.
I think they're cool looking. They're so pretty, and they're easy to. What I've seen, witnessed, and talked about, they're very smart. So it's you gotta test them intellectually, and as you've had on your podcast, 1, 3s, and 5s, we all learn in 1, 3s, and 5s, and the ones I've been around either get it on 1 or they get it on 3. I haven't seen one have to go to 5 yet.
That's good. No, they are cool looking dogs. That's for sure. I've been seeing more of them pop up here and there online, and from what I've seen, they're very beautiful.
Yeah, I'm kind of that ugly dog person. So
yeah, I wouldn't even say they're ugly. Honestly, I would name a couple other ones that are ugly.
Well, it's kind of it's a pride thing for us, ugly dog. I've got a sticker on my truck that says "Want more birds? Hunting with an ugly dog."
That's good. I like that. Okay, a couple more here. Most clays you've ever hit in a row?
Yeah, I'm not a big clay shooter, so I'm going to lie and go 25. I'm going to tell the truth and go, man, if I broke 10 in a row, that was a good day.
That was a good day. That'd be a great day for me.
Yeah, see, I like to practice like I shoot. So everybody else is standing on the sporting clays, they got it up mounted. They know exactly where they're traveling with their finger. They're like, I just walk up, I close my eyes while they're pulling theirs, and then I step up.
The less I think about it, the better. Because if I start anticipating the clay or whatever, I'm like, nope, not gonna happen.
So now ask me how I do on birds, and I think I keep up with everybody that I hunt with on the bird end, right? Obviously, you're walking up behind a pointed dog and things like that. So, but them dang clays, I don't know why them guys play that game.
Let's go hunt birds. All right, just a couple more here. Let's see. We did that one. Fantasy hunt. This is kind of a newer one I've been trying out. So it's kind of a multi-part question. A fantasy hunt, where at, for what bird, with who, and you can only bring one dog.
Oh, a fantasy hunt. So I want to go to Alaska to hunt sharps and roughs, so I don't have to trek up and down the mountains as much, right? Who do I want to bring? I had my best friend pass away a number of years ago. If I can bring him back from where all the fun he's having now, come back and hang out with me for a day, I would do that. If it was living, I would bring probably my kids, my grandkids if they're old enough, and share that with them. One dog. Well, I'm going back to the chocolate lab. Grizzly bear. Grizz. Grizz is coming.
All right. Bring that lab. Bring it up to Alaska and have yourself a good time.
It's not a sharp-tailed rough grouse dog, but
hey, it doesn't matter. This is your fantasy hunt.
He would figure it out in like 2 seconds. He'd be like, "Follow me, Dad.
That's the beautiful thing. The beautiful thing about this question is you can create it to be whatever you want.
I took full advantage of that until I brought him back from the dead.
Yep. This is finally catching on. I feel like you painted a good expectation now. So everyone listening, okay? If I ask you this question, Scott just laid the foundation.
Thank you.
All right, Scott. Last question here. Beverage of choice after a hunt.
Squirt.
Squirt.
Oh.
I haven't had that in, oh my gosh, maybe 10 years.
Little bit of sour, that grapefruity.
Yeah. It's a good soda.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's another first on the podcast.
Yep. And then if the farmer that you asked to go hunting wants whiskey with 7-Up, right? You just pour squirt in there for him with a little dash of squirt. And he's like, "What the hell did you put in my drink?" I'm like, "That's squirt. That's the best mixer for your Canadian club that there is."
You're a little bartender.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have never had one of them say, "Ew," throw it out. They're like, "Oh, that's really good. What'd you say that was?"
You taught him something new. I love this question. You get to hear so many unique things.
That's squirt's my drink. I like it.
I love it. Your cooler is probably stocked.
The garage is for sure.
Yep. That sounds good. I'm going to make a list of like all these different drink combos I've heard over the several episodes. I'm going to start throwing some of these in my cooler. I talked to Andy Wayman. He got me hooked on root beer again. He's like, "Oh, cold root beer." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds so good."
It does.
Sounds so good. You
should buy your kids a keg of root beer. Keep it in a
there we go.
kegerator, and when they're good, they can go out and get a glass, a red Solo cup.
There you go.
Root beer.
Oh, sounds so good. Our kids are hooked on Sprite right now. We said we were going to be those parents that, no soda until they're whatever, teenagers. We said our 2-year-olds, he'll grab mama's Coke and start drinking her Coke. And we're like, whatever, whatever.
Yeah. Pick your battles.
Exactly. You have to.
Just like your dogs,
Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
It's the end of the day. It's the end of the week. You've been out there and he doesn't deliver to hand and he drops it at your feet and then sits down. You don't make your dog pick up the bird and come to heel and drop it in your hand. You sit down with him and scratch him on the head and tell him, "Good boy."
Pick your battles.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, this, I cannot, what am I going to say? Can't overestimate? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Thank you. I'm just saying this has been not only fun and highly, I think, educational for myself, and I hope a lot of our listeners. It's just been really, really nice to hear your perspective, your learnings on engaging new hunters, youth. No matter what age you are, I think a lot of these principles that you talk about can apply to a wide range of people. And so thank you for taking the time to share that with us. I know I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thanks for having me. And I hope there's some people out there that listen to this that go, you know what? That kind of motivated me. I think I'll reach out. I know Billy Bob across the street, sits by himself a lot of the time. I'm gonna go talk to his mom and see if there's something that I can do. So, reach that hand out. I always say that. It's just a good visual, right? Reach your hand out. See if they grab a hold of it.
Yeah. Might be the title of this episode. Reach out your hand.
Yeah. So thank you for giving me that opportunity to talk to your great followers, and you do a great job. I love your podcast.
Oh, thank you, Scott. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Scott, if anyone has maybe follow-up questions for you, if they want to connect with you, what's the best way, I guess, to get a hold of you if they'd like to connect with you more?
Oh, that would just be, I'm old, so you're not going to find me on Instagram or tweet or anything like that. So
You're not on the Twitter?
No TikToks, no nothing like that. So yeah, best to email me. It's my last name, my first name at gmail.com. So if you're going to put my name in there, tell people it's just my last name, my first name at gmail.com. No dashes,
last name, first name.
No squiggly lines, no emojis, no.
I appreciated that. I saw that, and it was just a normal email, just a name. That just no number combo, exclamation. Like, it was just,
easy peasy. Yep. Oh, well, best movie. That's what you got to ask. What's your best movie? I got to know this. What's your favorite movie? Yep.
Are you asking me?
I am.
Okay, Scott, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm not a movie guy. I have friends of mine.
You got to have a favorite, though.
Who will quote movies, and I'm like, I don't know. Okay, but if you had to pin me down. Oh, gosh.
Come on, dude.
Oh, I know. This is stressful. I am going to take so much flack for this, Scott, and I'm just going to own it, though, okay? Yep. The only movie that can come to my mind right now is the Harry Potter series. The whole series of Harry Potter. I love it. I love the books. I love the movies, and I'm just going to own it.
There's nothing to own. That's a good one.
It's not like Braveheart or any Apollo 13, anything like these. It's Harry Potter. Good. And my kids are into it now. My two older ones are reading the books, and it's fun to, sit down and rewatch those with them now. So
yeah, see, that wasn't bad. I'm just like, all right, that was stressful. One question I had for you. I'm like, I wonder what he likes that way, right? Because you didn't strike me as a Rambo type guy, It was more. Exactly. It has to make you think, because there's a bunch of plots in there.
Yep.
The movie ends. It's kind of like, well, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Where's the adventure taking us next time?
Exactly.
So that's.
I love continuing things, continuing series, things like that.
Yep. So
so much fun.
Yeah. So much fun. Thanks for letting me ask a question.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. Well, thank you again. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more soon. And have good luck this season. Have a ton of fun, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, peace, love, and Bobby Sherman.
Okay. I got to add, who's Bobby Sherman?
Oh, see, that's how you age, Bobby Sherman. You're going to have to Google him.
I have a list of like four things to Google.
Yeah, he's a singer back in the 60s and 70s,
Okay.
Peace, love, the whole hippie movement.
Bobby Sherman.
Yeah, so peace, love, and Bobby Sherman signing off for today.
I learned so much on this podcast. All right, and that's a wrap of episode 58 of Reach Out Your Hand, part 2 with Scott Kinnane. Scott, thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough for the time you've taken. Like I said on the last episode, just the time you've taken to invest into this next generation of young hunters. I think your approach, your style, your personality, it's just a really special mix, and I greatly appreciate what you're doing. I know you've inspired me already to rethink about how I am engaging with and developing new hunters and bringing them along for the journey. So I really thank you for that. Hopefully everyone out there listening, again, walks away a little encouraged and with some next steps on whether you're the mentee. Maybe someone's mentoring you, and maybe some practical things you can do to be a good mentee. How do you soak up that knowledge? How do you ask the questions? What do you do? What does that look like? Maybe you're the mentor. Maybe you've never mentored someone. Maybe you've never coached someone. So maybe this episode gave you that nudge, maybe lit that fire under you to get out there, extend that hand, and if someone reaches out and takes that hand back, all right, like let's go on this journey, let's go on this ride together, and figure this out. So anyways, all that to say, thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to share this episode on social media if you found it enjoyable. Would love to hear, what you took away, what was most interesting to you. And also be sure to be tagging the Upland Rookie Podcast, hashtag the Upland Rookie Podcast, or just tag us on social media. Would love to see some of your stories, some of what you've been seeing out there on your early season hunts. Again, would love to, again, get to kind of peek behind the curtain. What have you been learning? What has the experience been like with you and your dogs? And we'll be sharing some of those next couple weeks. So anyways, guys, until next time, go put some miles on those boots and follow your favorite bird dog. Take care.